All right, guys. Sorry I did not record this on over the weekend. Kind of had a crazy weekend, but I'm going to go over this real quick. I'm going to show you my key. And some of this, if you do not know, if this is not familiar at all, you need to look this stuff up, okay? So just real quick going through, I'm going to try to go through 3, 5, 6, and 7 on this video, and then I'll go through the rest on a second video. All right, so as you can see, 3 is already on the screen. So we kind of discussed this one, Henry VIII. Make sure that's an important figure. Henry the Seventh, started the Tudor dynasty, yeah, that's probably the most important thing. He, wins the War of the Roses, becomes king. But I would say Henry VIII, a little bit more important. Edward, don't worry so much about him. Mary, Queen of Scots, briefly brings back Catholicism, but then you get to Elizabeth I, who is a far more important monarch. All right, and okay, so you've got these. James started the Stuarts. The Tudors end, then the Stuarts start, and then also make sure you look up the Cromwells. This should be Richard Cromwell in the 1658 to 1660. And I realize my key for some reason is different than you all's, so just do the best you can there. Make sure you read about the English Civil War, just the bullet points. We're 5 days till the test, so don't deep dive on anything. If you don't know it at this point, you're not going to completely learn stuff. All right, so James II, William and Mary, Glorious Revolution. We'll talk about that in class too, just as a refresher. All right, so, and guys, keep in mind, you can pause this. I'm going to roll through these kind of slowly, but you can pause it at any time to copy this stuff. George III, he's the king during the American Revolution, also during Napoleon, and he goes a little crazy. George IV, Congress of Vienna, and then you get to Victoria. All right, and here's a list. I know the book doesn't cover Victoria very well. We kind of talked about this in class, but make sure you understand the Victorian age, how that's marked by this strict moral code, all that stuff. Maybe Google Victorian age, since it's not really covered in your book too well. All right, George VI, another important monarch. We saw his picture during the Blitz. Okay, he was king during World War II. And then, of course, Elizabeth, who is Elizabeth II, the current queen. All right, so skipping to France. All right, lots of Louis for France. I just want to point out a few of the important ones. And honestly, on France, let's just skip right down to France is a mess. Okay, Louis XIII and Louis XIV. Louis XIV is your key French monarch. Okay, so Louis XIV, 1643 to 1715. So you see the French words here, and I don't speak French too well. I thought it was Lestat. Lestat, c'est moi. Whatever. That means I am the state. That's Louis' famous line. I am the state. Okay, probably the most famous absolute monarch. So, and then of course he builds the Palace of Versailles. But make sure you get a lot of that info down on Louis. And then Louis the 16th, He's the king during the French Revolution. He's going to be beheaded. So is his wife, Marie Antoinette. So make sure you get that. Then Return of the Louis with Louis the 17th for a brief time. And then Napoleon, of course. And you should be pretty well versed in Napoleon. We talked about him for quite a while. But if there's anything on that list you do not already have. And then back to Louis the 18th. Okay, constitutional monarch this time, not absolute. All right. Napoleon III. Okay. Yes, we'll do 6. Okay, so on 6, we just highlighted a few of the important ones. Okay, Frederick William, the Great Elector. Keep in mind, these are pretty short notes. Okay, Frederick the Great, maybe look him up. William I, Kaiser of the Second Reich, that is the Second Era, the Second Realm, that is the Kaiser during German unification. All right, and then, of course, Otto von Bismarck, make sure you add that, who's going to be largely responsible for the German unification. And then, of course, Wilhelm II. Wilhelm II, all right, Kaiser during World War II, and also grandson of Victoria. All right, let's skip down to... Yeah, make sure you understand, the Kaiser was the grandson of Victoria, so was the King of England, so was the Tsar of Russia. All grandchildren of Victoria. Okay, so HRE. We got Charles V. Okay, divided up the lands of the Habsburgs. Do I need to move this over? I think you got that. All right, Ferdinand II started the 30 Years' War. Big event. If you... I heard some of you talking about the 30 Years' War in class. Make sure you look that up if you're not sure about it. Maria Theresa. Okay, strengthen the state. Joseph II. Where am I at on time? Okay, I'm doing well. All right, and then Charles I. So Joseph II, most liberal of the enlightened despots. So he is the most freedom-oriented for his people, gives the most rights to his people as far as the monarchs at the time. Charles is first, last ruler of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and last monarch of the House of Habsburg and Lorraine. All right. I don't think I'm going to have you do these, but the questions at the bottom of HRE, there they are if you were curious about those. So I won't even go over them. Okay, so this is this video. I'll make another video for 14, 15, 16, and 24.